All right, welcome back everybody. Just wow, this is our build. So let's kind of go into it. Don't know where to start really, but yeah, this is hand selected from the guys here at R44. We've kind of gone through the warehouse and just picked things off the shelf as we've gone along and just kind of said, what do we love about each part and why? You'll see some diversity. We're not just putting brands on it that we have good relationships with or something like that. There's brands that we have a history of some reason why we want it on the car. So where should we start, Dylan? What do you think? Where I am, next to me. So the side profile. Let's go for we're going for some SK1s. Obviously the car has a lot of gloss black accents. And I think we keep with that OEM plus look. A lot of people changing them to carbon or body colored them. Both are something that we've done, but I think keeping with the gloss black all the way around will tie in with the rear. So we've gone for some SK1. These are MHC plus SK1s, backed with a nice 3-year warranty. So you know you're getting a quality product with a nice backing if any issues and things like that. So that's what we're doing on side skirts. Side badges. There's a few options. You can obviously get the full replacements or you can get these trims. Because, like I said, with the gloss black, I wanted to keep the gloss black flowing. We're keeping the gloss black mirrors. So I thought gloss black, bit of gloss black, and final here. So just a nice little trim to go on the side. We'll remove the only kind of matte black plastic on the car. So that's the side profile. We'll then go on to suspension while we're on the side. So there's quite a few options. Obviously you've got the likes of H&R, IBAC, KW, MSS, and lots of other options. But ASTs have shown a really good drop. What we're trying to go for is a good fit without having to go to like an adjustable suspension, something that's got quite high maintenance, or a coilover, again, with the maintenance in terms of adjustment and things like that. So we want to build a car that's ready to go, to be used and hopefully just get a load of miles on it and stuff like that. So to the next customer. So we've gone for an AST. We fit these on the OG Toronto Red build that we did with Will, and the fit was just perfect. So we've opted for them. These are the V2 kind of edition, so they've got some kind of slight changes to them. So we're going to look how they kind of fit up, make sure 100% suspension's key to make sure the build looks as I want it and as we want it. So ASTs, you can see they've got the two black, like, I don't know what they're called, the rubber kind of guards on them. That's to prevent the issue that they had back in like April, probably August last year. So that's all resolved. Any issues that people maybe read up on forums, that's been resolved, and they've redesigned some of the springs just to get the perfect ride and hopefully the perfect drop. So that's suspension. Wheels, we'll touch on them. So we're on the stock wheels. The wheels that we're opting for aren't here at the moment. They're getting some really fine details done, so it's a shame. I would love to have had them here, but I think I'm going to make it special. When they arrive, we'll run through them. So we'll leave those, but the wheels that are going on it are extremely special to us, and we'll wrap them most likely in a PS4S to get that fitment. So the wheels will come at another date. Exhaust. Obviously, we've got the R44 titanium, and that was like the first one. Oh, we've got to do a titanium on it, but then we thought we want to keep the OPFs in. We want the car to be driven for many miles, and the owner to be not worrying about warranty and little things like that people question. So we wanted to go for an OPF back system of such, and there's a few options. You've got the Remus, you've got the Miltech, and other options out there. But we've gone for a Miltech because we want to go for the styling. We want it to be a piece of art. So we've gone for the Miltech because of these tips. These tips are iconically big. We'll fill up the rear. And just look at that. So it's like a ceramic black finish, which I think will work really well with the gloss black accents. Keep the car the theme of just red and black everywhere. As well as the Miltech's just a good cost, good value for money system. And, reliability of the helical valves and a few other things that kind of persuaded me to put this on this build. So yeah, we've opted for that, and we're looking forward to kind of showcasing how that sounds. And this car sounds actually really nice standard, so it's nice just to increase those burbles, but keeping it very OEM plus. So that's the exhaust. Other than that, we're leaving the exhaust system. Moving on, I guess we should let's jump to the engine bay, seeing as we're on some performance stuff. So we've gone for an MST intake. Obviously, we've got a bit of Evantree over there. My intake of choice is either Evantree or an Armor Speed, but the MST is a really good cost, like value for money intake. if you're just wanting, you're not going for the performance gains, because these guys, unless they're mapped, you're not really getting much performance from the intake in general, but you want that sound. You want to hear those twin turbos spooling up, that inline six. So we've opted for the MST. You'll really hear the spools, and I think we'll get some real nice sound out of this, and that's really important for us. So the MST, which is pretty much, replace the boxes, the crossover pipes, and it's just good value for money, good quality system. We run them on a lot of our cars and a lot of customers' cars. So that's what we've done there. We then want to get some carbon into the engine bay. We don't want to go too crazy, but we want to keep it very clean. And when you open that, you appreciate what's in there. So we've opted for this Hexon brace that I almost knocked over. So this is a special R44 edition. So it's got the R44 logo lacquered into it. And it's just going to set off the engine bay really nice, with the bottom brace and the top brace full carbon. So shout out to those guys. Done a nice it's a nice finish on there. And then we're going to round up with Evantree. Obviously I probably wanted to go for an Evantree intake on it, but I thought I wanted to go for more noise to hear those turbos. So we've opted for the Evantree engine cover, just to really top off the engine bay. So when you open it, you really appreciate what's gone into it. And this Evantree engine cover to us here is iconic. They've taken the original design, instead of just replicating it and making it carbon, which a lot of people have done, and what MHC have done, they've done the same. They've just done an OEM Plus, which is just OEM but in carbon. Evantree have gone the extra mile to redesign it, extend it out, and just add a few features which I think you'll really appreciate when it's in the engine bay. And looking at it now, obviously, I'm thinking we need to sort out those, so we'll look at that maybe. Some little fuel caps, but yeah, Evantree I think is going to be a finishing touch to the engine bay to make it unique in that way. And then the front, while we're looking at it, we'll go for start with the grills. Obviously we want to get rid of those plastic grills. They look cool, but these look cool. So we've gone for this is a newish product to us. It's the GT style grill, but the non-ACC. The ACC, sorry. So if you did have an ACC with the radar in the front, these are the grills for you. So I've opted for them, even though we don't have the radar, but just to kind of free up that front end along the bottom. So that way, when we have the twin fins and quite a lot of aggression in that area, you kind of focus more on the twin fins rather than the grill, which will be quite cool. So grills there, we'll put the M3 competition badge on there, and then moving on to the twin fins. So they're obviously iconic to go with the front splitter. So twin fin ducts to replace the horrible mesh, and then wrapped up with the SP1 splitter, which you can really see. The reason the SP1's a bit more kind of mellows in design and not so aggressive is this section here that you'll see more when it's on the car lines up with these twin fins, and you really get those lines flowing into the bumper, and you have that quite a bit of aggression in there. So opted for them rather than just the single fins and the SP1. And then wrapping up the build is the rear. The rear I don't want to go too crazy on. I feel the rear is wide enough, beefy enough. So we've gone for the OEM Plus kind of diffuser. So this is pretty much the non-carbon pack diffuser in carbon, slightly refined. I think it's just the best option. And then paired up with the CS style spoiler. So these are all the carbon parts on the exterior, MHC Plus. So they're pre-preg, made in the most, these parts made in the UK, developed, and backed by warranty. So you're just secure. That we're never going to have an issue with the carbon. It's going to look perfect every time, and that's really important. All the weave it has to be perfect. So yeah, so we're opting for that. I don't want to, a lot of people run the ducktails on these cars, which I think look great, but I think with this, all the aggression down below, I think the top's going to be OEM Plus. So yeah, that's rounding up the rear end, and I think that's rounding up the spec. What do you think, Dylan? Just looking forward to getting onto it. I think we're going to start with the exhaust first. I'm trying to think of the best way to kind of build it up, so as you see the progression of the build, everything ties in at the right time. We're not going to go into the styling first before we've done the suspension. So we're going to go for the exhaust first, so it sounds good. So at all points, when we change the diffuser, the exhaust tips are there, so you can really see how they look. And then we'll go on to the suspension next, get the car sitting right on the OEM wheels, and probably at that point we'll introduce our wheel choice. I think that's a key point. And then we'll go on to exterior styling, and then it will all tie in and then finish up in the engine bay. I think that's the best way to go about it. I think we're looking forward to bringing the Toronto Red to life.